Hi, welcome to another episode of Talk to the Expert here at ASAFE. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about capital expenditure and operational expenditure within our sector. And I'm here with our guest today.
Hi, I'm Matt Pedder and I'm part of the commercial team and I've been working with salespeople and customers for nearly 2 decades.
So Matt, let's get straight into it. When people use the terms CAPEX and OPEX, what do they actually mean within our industry?
Well, when we talk about CAPEX and OPEX, especially in an industrial environment, we're really talking about 2 very different ways of looking at cost. CAPEX is the upfront investment, the money that you spend to buy and install something like our safety barrier solutions. OPEX is everything that happens after that. So the ongoing cost of operating, maintaining, repairing, and dealing with the consequences of that investment. The reason this matters, especially for health and safety managers and finance teams, is that focusing only on CAPEX can be misleading, because in environments like warehouses, manufacturing, or logistics sites, the real cost isn't just the install, it's what happens every time something goes wrong. So the conversation should shift from what does it cost to buy to what does it cost to own over time, and that's where better decisions come from.
So Matt, with that in mind, often people go for steel barriers or copycats or polymer alternatives. Where do the costs start to build up with them other options?
So steel barriers are often seen as the lower CAPEX option, and on paper that's true. But what we tend to see is that the cost doesn't stop at installation, it starts there. Every impact can lead to bending, damage or failure, and that creates a chain reaction of operational costs. You've got repairs, which means labour, parts and time. You've got downtime, so those areas of the site that are now no longer safe, less than 100% operational or accessible or usable. You've got damage to vehicles, racking, or even the flooring itself. And then there's the less visible cost. So disruption to operations, risk exposure, and in some cases, repeated incidents in the same location. So while the initial investment might be lower, the ongoing OPEX can build very quickly and often unpredictably. It's in these unaccounted ongoing costs where businesses start to realise that the cheaper upfront doesn't always mean lower cost overall.
So Matt, with that in mind, how does ASAFE's barrier change up that equation between CAPEX and OPEX that's sort of different from them alternatives?
Well, what ASAFE does differently is it changes that equation completely. So our polymer barriers are designed to absorb and to return impact energy rather than deform like steel does. So instead of a barrier being damaged every time it's hit, it flexes, dissipates the energy and the force, and returns to its original shape. What that means in practical terms is fewer repairs, less maintenance, and far less disruption without needing for constant intervention. That's where our customers start to see the real value, not just in safety, but in long-term cost control.
I can really start to see where that added benefit is with ASAFE's barrier product. But beyond cost of the product, what added value does ASAFE bring in terms of efficiency, safety? What other things does ASAFE bring to the plate?
So I really appreciate that question, Will. And for me, this is where the conversation gets really interested, because the barrier itself is only part of the picture. So when you install the right safety infrastructure, you're not just protecting a line on the floor, you're protecting the entire operation. So you reduce downtime because incidents don't escalate into bigger problems. You protect high-value assets like racking systems and vehicles and stock, and you reduce maintenance workload, which frees up internal resource, and in some cases, it can even influence things like insurance risk, profiles, and compliance with safety standards. So the impact goes far beyond procurement. It touches productivity, operational efficiency, risk management, and ultimately profitability. That's why the best conversations we're having aren't about the barriers, they're about operational performance.
So as a customer, they've got all that information. They know that ASAFE is the right product for them. But what advice can you give to that individual on to go to procurement and to get that budget to invest in this safety product?
For me, my advice would be don't separate CAPEX and OPEX, connect them, because the goal isn't to spend less upfront, it's to spend smarter overall. So when considering your solution options, start by asking, what is this solution going to cost us over 3, 5 or 10 years? What happens when it gets tested in a real world environment? And what happens, or what are the consequences if it fails? The businesses that get this right are the ones that look beyond the purchase price and focus on performance over time, those total cost of ownerships. That's where safety becomes more than a compliance decision, and it becomes a strategic investment. And ultimately, that's where you'll see the biggest return, not just financially, but operationally as well.
Thanks, Matt, for your time today. And for those of you at home, I really hope that you've got a little bit more clarity on what CAPEX and OPEX means within this sector. And actually some things to take away to work within your companies about how you can add value in terms of ROI and TCO over a longer period of time by combining that CAPEX and OPEX discussion with your peers. So I hope you've got something from this, and we'll see you next time.